You're mentally weak. Minor stress breaks you. Small setbacks defeat you. Uncomfortable situations make you quit. Criticism destroys your confidence. Failure paralyzes your action. You avoid hard conversations, skip difficult tasks. Choose comfort over growth every single time. Not because you're defective, but because you've spent entire life training weakness. Every time you hit snooze instead of waking, you trained weakness. Every time you quit when things got hard, you trained weakness. Every time you chose easy path over right path, you trained weakness. Thousands of small, weak choices compounded into weak mind that can't handle pressure. That weakness isn't permanent condition, it's learned pattern. And if weakness was learned, strength can be learned through opposite training. Miyamoto Musashi became mentally unbreakable not through genetics or luck, but through systematic exposure to escalating hardship over years. He didn't start unbreakable, he built unbreakability through deliberate practice of discomfort, slept on hard floors when beds available, trained in freezing water when warmth available, fasted when food available, fought 60 life or death duels when peaceful life available. Each hardship was training session building mental armor that made him impervious to stress, fear, and adversity. By end of life, nothing could break him mentally because he'd voluntarily exposed himself to everything that breaks weak men. Modern neuroscience confirms his intuitive method. Mental strength is trainable through progressive exposure to controlled adversity. Your brain adapts to demands placed on it. Place zero demand, brain stays weak. Place progressive demand, brain becomes strong. 66 days is neurological threshold for permanent behavioral change. First 21 days install new pattern. Days 22 through 44 consolidate pattern into habit. Days 45 through 66 automate habit into default behavior. After 66 days of consistent practice, behavior becomes automatic, requiring minimal willpower. This is your window to transform from mentally weak to mentally unbreakable through samurai method of progressive hardship exposure. In next 10 topics, you get complete 66-day protocol. Topic 1 explains neuroscience. Topics 2 through 6 break down each phase with specific practices. Topics 7 through 9 give implementation, tracking, and maintenance. Topic 10 reveals principle making everything work. After 66 days executing this protocol, you'll be mentally unbreakable, not through positive thinking, but through proven stress adaptation. First topic explains why 66 days specifically. Why 66 days is the neurological threshold for permanent change. 66 days is average time required for new behavior to become automatic according to study by Philippa Lally at University College London. Not 21 days like popular myth suggests, 66 days for complex behavioral change to fully automate. This happens through 3 neurological phases: installation, consolidation, and automation. Days 1 through 21 are installation, where you're consciously executing new behavior against existing patterns. This phase requires maximum willpower because you're fighting established neural pathways. Brain resists change because existing patterns are efficient and new patterns are costly. You'll feel massive resistance, constant urge to quit, brain generating 1,000 excuses why today should be exception. This is normal biological response to change, not character weakness. Days 22 through 44 are consolidation, where new pattern starts becoming easier but isn't automatic yet. Resistance decreases but hasn't disappeared. You still need conscious effort but less willpower than installation phase. During consolidation, new neural pathways are strengthening through repeated activation, while old pathways are weakening through disuse. This is critical window where most people fail because they think behavior is established so they can relax effort. Relaxing during consolidation causes regression to old patterns. You must maintain perfect consistency through entire consolidation phase for change to stick. Days 45 through 66 are automation. where behavior becomes default, requiring minimal conscious effort. Neural pathway is now strong enough to activate automatically. You're not trying to execute behavior, you're automatically executing it. Why this matters for mental unbreakability: if you execute hardship training for 66 consecutive days, your brain will permanently adapt to handle stress that currently breaks you. It's not willpower or positive thinking, it's neuroplasticity creating structural changes in your brain. Anterior cingulate cortex thickens, improving emotional regulation. Amygdala reactivity decreases, reducing fear response. Prefrontal cortex strengthens, enhancing executive control. These aren't metaphors, these are measurable brain changes visible on fMRI scans. Musashi didn't know neuroscience, but understood principle. Expose yourself to hardship consistently for extended period, and you become harder to break. You're going to do same thing using 66-day protocol. Next topic breaks down first 2 weeks building foundation. Week 1 and 2, breaking the comfort addiction. First 2 weeks are breaking comfort addiction that made you mentally weak. Comfort addiction is primary cause of mental weakness in modern world. Central heating means you're never cold. Air conditioning means you're never hot. Unlimited food means you're never hungry. Infinite entertainment means you're never bored. Every discomfort that builds mental strength has been engineered out of your environment. Result: you've become psychologically fragile because you've never had to develop coping mechanisms for adversity. Weeks 1 and 2 systematically reintroduce controlled discomfort, training your brain to function despite discomfort instead of requiring comfort to function. Week 1 introduces 3 daily discomforts: cold exposure, hunger window, and stillness practice. Cold exposure, 5-minute cold shower every morning, not lukewarm, completely cold. First 2 minutes are shock, next 3 minutes are adaptation. This trains your nervous system to override panic response and function through discomfort. Hunger window, 16-hour fast daily, from 8 p.m. to noon next day. This breaks addiction to constant eating and trains mental override of hunger signals. Your body has ample energy stores. You don't need food every 3 hours. Stillness practice, 10 minutes sitting completely still with no phone, no book, no stimulation. Just sitting with your thoughts. This breaks entertainment addiction and builds tolerance for boredom. These 3 practices seem small, but they're systematically attacking comfort dependencies. Week 2 maintains all 3 practices from week 1 while adding difficulty through variability. Cold showers extend to 7 minutes. Fasting window extends to 18 hours. Stillness practice extends to 15 minutes. Additionally, you add controlled stress exposure. Identify one uncomfortable thing you've been avoiding: difficult conversation, challenging task, anxiety-inducing activity, and do it this week. Not optional, mandatory. By end of week 2, you've completed 14 consecutive days of voluntary discomfort. Your brain is starting to learn new pattern. Discomfort doesn't require avoidance or shutdown. You can function through it. This is foundation for everything else. You're not comfortable yet with discomfort, but you've proven you can execute despite discomfort. That proof is crucial. Next phase escalates intensity, building real tolerance. Week 3 and 4, building discomfort tolerance. Weeks 3 and 4, escalate intensity, building genuine tolerance for sustained discomfort. Tolerance means discomfort no longer triggers panic or avoidance. It just becomes background noise you operate through. This requires longer duration and higher intensity than weeks 1 and 2. You're maintaining all previous practices while increasing demands significantly. Cold exposure extends to 10-minute cold showers or adding ice bath protocol. 5 minutes in water, cold enough to create strong stress response. Hunger window extends to 20 hours or adding 24-hour fast once this phase. Stillness practice extends to 20 minutes, and you're now adding meditation, focusing on observing discomfort without reacting to it. Week 3 introduces physical discomfort training through high-intensity exercise. Not comfortable moderate workout, deliberately uncomfortable intense training. Could be sprints until you want to quit, then 2 more sprints. Could be holding plank until failure, then 30 seconds more. Could be carrying heavy object until grip fails, then switching hands and continuing. Point isn't specific exercise, point is training yourself to continue when body screams to stop. This builds mental override mechanism. Body says stop, mind says continue, mind wins. That override is mental unbreakability in practical form. You execute 3 sessions of uncomfortable training this week, each pushing past first urge to quit. Week 4 adds social discomfort through deliberate rejection practice. Mental weakness often manifests as fear of judgment, criticism, or rejection. This week you systematically desensitize yourself by seeking small rejections. Ask stranger for small favor, expecting no. Start conversation with someone you wouldn't normally approach. Share opinion you know will be unpopular. Each micro-rejection trains your brain that social discomfort isn't threat requiring avoidance. By end of week 4, you've completed full month of progressive discomfort training. You can handle cold that would have defeated you week 1. You can function through hunger that would have broken you initially. You can sit with boredom you couldn't tolerate before. You can push through physical limits you would have respected previously. You can handle social discomfort you would have avoided entirely. That's measurable progress toward unbreakability. Next phase tests this foundation under real stress. Week 5 and 6, testing under real stress. Weeks 5 and 6, test emerging unbreakability under real stress conditions beyond controlled practice. Controlled practice builds capacity, but real stress reveals whether capacity transfers to actual situations. This phase combines all previous training while adding real-world challenges that create genuine stress. You're maintaining cold exposure, fasting, stillness, physical training, and social discomfort practices. Additionally, you're actively seeking stressful situations that would have overwhelmed you 30 days ago. Not avoiding stress, hunting it. Week 5 focuses on decision-making under pressure. Mentally weak people freeze or make terrible decisions when stressed. You're training opposite, clear thinking regardless of stress level. Implementation. Take cold shower, then immediately tackle most difficult decision you've been avoiding. The cold exposure activates stress response, then you practice making clear decision despite activated nervous system. Do this 3 times this week with progressively more significant decisions. Additionally, practice making faster decisions with less information. Mentally weak people delay decisions, hoping for certainty that never comes. Set 15-minute timer for decisions that would normally take days. Decide with available information. Execute immediately. Adjust if needed. This trains decisive action under uncertainty. Week 6 focuses on emotional regulation under attack. Mentally weak people's emotions are controlled by external circumstances. Criticism makes them defensive, failure makes them depressed, adversity makes them anxious. You're training emotional independence. Circumstances change, but your internal state remains stable. Implementation. Deliberately expose yourself to criticism this week. Ask people for brutal, honest feedback. Read negative reviews if you have public presence. Have someone you trust verbally challenge your ideas. Practice receiving criticism without defensive reaction. Let them finish completely, pause 5 seconds, respond calmly, addressing valid points and ignoring invalid attacks. This trains Fudoshin, immovable mind that external conditions can't shake. By end of week 6, you've passed critical halfway point, demonstrating you can maintain unbreakability training under real stress. Next phase systematically escalates to levels that would break untrained person. Week 7 and 8, escalating intensity systematically. Weeks 7 and 8 escalate intensity systematically to levels that would have been impossible at start. Progressive overload principle applies to mental training, same as physical training. You don't build strength lifting same weight forever, you progressively increase load. Same with mental unbreakability. You don't build it facing same challenges forever, you progressively increase difficulty. By week 7, you've built sufficient base capacity to handle significantly harder training. This phase pushes you to edges of current capability, then slightly beyond, forcing adaptation to new level. Week 7 compounds multiple stresses simultaneously. Previously, you faced stresses in isolation, cold exposure one time, difficult decision another time, criticism another time. This week, you stack them. Example protocol. Wake up after deliberately shortened sleep, 5 to 6 hours, immediately take ice bath, then tackle most important task of day while fasted, then have difficult conversation you've been avoiding, then train physically to exhaustion. You're practicing maintaining performance while multiple stresses attack simultaneously. This mirrors real high-stress situations where problems compound. Untrained person collapses under compounding stress. You're training to maintain function regardless of how many stresses are present. Execute 3 days of compound stress this week with recovery days between. Week 8 extends duration of sustained stress. You've practiced handling acute stress in short bursts. This week you practice sustained stress over longer periods. Example protocol, 48-hour challenge combining sleep deprivation, physical challenge, mental challenge, and social challenge continuously. Could be working on important project with minimal sleep while maintaining fasting protocol, while executing difficult conversations, while training physically twice. Point isn't specific combination. Point is sustained adversity without break testing, whether your unbreakability holds under prolonged stress. Musashi sometimes trained for days without sleep or food. You're doing modern, reasonable version, pushing boundaries of what you thought possible. After 8 weeks, you've transformed nervous system's baseline. What stressed you? Week 1 now feels trivial. What would have broken you initially, you now handle routinely, but you're not done. Next 2 weeks make transformation permanent. Week 9 and 10, mastering mental override. Final 2 weeks are mastering mental override, ability to force action regardless of what you feel. This is ultimate expression of mental unbreakability. Weak mind is controlled by feelings. I don't feel like it determines what gets done. Strong mind controls feelings. I committed to it determines what gets done regardless of feeling. Weeks 9 and 10 train this complete override through practices specifically designed to create maximum resistance, then forcing action anyway. You've built capacity. Now you're building dominance of will over feeling. Week 9 practices action despite zero motivation. Select one challenging task daily. You have zero motivation to complete. Maybe it's workout when exhausted. Maybe it's cold shower when you want hot. Maybe it's fasting when you want to eat. Maybe it's working when you want to rest. The specific task matters less than this requirement. You must have genuine, strong desire to not do it. Then you count backwards, 5 to 4 to 3, 2, 1, and move immediately before brain can generate justification. This trains the gap between stimulus and response that Viktor Frankl wrote about. Between feeling and action is space where you choose. Weak people have no gap. Feeling immediately becomes action or inaction. Strong people have wide gap. Feeling occurs, but conscious choice determines action. You're widening that gap through practice. Week 10 practices ultimate override, continuing when every signal says, stop. This is deliberate practice of the situation samurai faced in actual duels. You're injured, exhausted, terrified, but you cannot stop or you die. Modern version is significantly less severe, but principle is same. Example, during workout, push to point where body is screaming to stop, every muscle burning, breath ragged, brain generating urgent stop signals. Then continue for 1 more minute. That minute trains override at highest intensity. Do this across multiple domains. physical training, cold exposure, uncomfortable conversation, challenging work. Each time you override stop signal, you strengthen neural pathway that says, my decision matters more than my feelings. After 10 weeks, you've completed primary transformation. You're not the same person who started. Your nervous system has been restructured. Next topic gives you complete implementation protocol with specific daily practices. Implementation, the complete 66-day protocol. Complete implementation requires written protocol, eliminating decision-making that wastes willpower. You're not deciding each morning what practices to do, you're executing predetermined protocol. Here's day-by-day breakdown. Days 1 through 14, weeks 1 and 2, daily protocol. Wake at same time every day regardless of sleep quality. 5-minute cold shower immediately upon waking. 16 to 18-hour fasting window. 10 to 15 minutes stillness practice. One avoided uncomfortable task weekly. Days 15 through 28, weeks 3 and 4. Daily protocol. Maintain all previous practices plus 10-minute cold shower or 5-minute ice bath. 20-hour fast or 1 24-hour fast this phase. 20-minute stillness meditation, 3 sessions of uncomfortable physical training, 3 deliberate rejection experiences. Days 29 through 42, weeks 5 and 6, daily protocol. Maintain all previous practices plus 3 cold then decision sessions, 3 15-minute decision timers, 3 criticism exposure exercises, 1 real stressful situation engaged voluntarily. Days 43 through 56, weeks 7 and 8. Daily protocol. Maintain baseline practices plus 3 compound stress days, 1 48-hour sustained stress challenge. All practices continue at established intensity. Days 57 through 66, weeks 9 and 10. Daily protocol. Maintain baseline practices plus daily unmotivated action practice. 3 ultimate override sessions weekly, maximum intensity across all categories. Final day assessment of transformation. Critical implementation rules. 0 exceptions for any reason. If you miss single day, restart from day 1. This seems harsh, but it's necessary because consistency is what creates neurological change. 1 exception becomes 2, becomes pattern of exceptions. Additionally, track every practice daily on written calendar with X for completion. Visual chain of X marks creates motivation to not break chain. Finally, tell someone your commitment and send them daily confirmation photo of completed tracking. External accountability prevents private failure. This protocol is non-negotiable if you want results. Musashi didn't negotiate with his training, neither do you. Next topic gives tracking system ensuring completion. Tracking system that ensures completion. Tracking system preventing failure has 3 components: daily completion log, weekly assessment, and accountability mechanism. Daily completion log is simple checklist printed and posted somewhere visible. List all required practices: cold exposure, fasting, stillness, physical training, stress exposure, override practice. Each day you complete practice, you mark it. This creates immediate feedback loop. Completed practices visible, incomplete practices visible. No lying to yourself about whether you're executing. Weekly assessment every Sunday, reviewing past week's completion rate and upcoming week's planned escalation. You calculate percentage. What percent of required practices did you complete? Anything below 100% means you're failing. You identify exactly which practices you're skipping and why. Usually it's practices creating most discomfort. Those are exactly practices you need most. Accountability mechanism is person you report to daily with proof of completion. Could be training partner, friend, coach, anyone who will hold you to standard without accepting excuses. Every evening you send them photo of completed daily log. If you miss day, they call you out immediately. This external accountability dramatically increases completion rates because humans are loss averse. We hate disappointing others more than we hate disappointing ourselves. Additionally, public commitment creates consistency bias. Once you've told someone you'll do something, psychology drives you toward doing it to maintain consistent self-image. Without this accountability, private commitments remain aspirational. With accountability, commitments become mandatory. Advanced tracking includes measuring baseline and progress. Before starting 66-day protocol, measure your current mental fragility. How do you handle cold, hunger, boredom, physical discomfort, social rejection, criticism, stress, compound adversity? Rate each 1 through 10. After 66 days, measure again using same scale. Difference is objective proof of transformation. Additionally, track real-world transfer. Are you handling actual life stress better? Are difficult situations that would have overwhelmed you now manageable? Are you making faster decisions? Are you less emotionally reactive? Real-world improvement is ultimate measure of whether training is working. If you're completing practices but not seeing real-world benefit, intensity is too low. Increase difficulty until training transfers to life. Next topic shows how to maintain unbreakability after 66 days. Maintenance, staying unbreakable forever. Maintenance after 66-day protocol has one primary rule: never stop completely. Mental unbreakability is like physical fitness. It requires ongoing maintenance, or it atrophies. You don't need same intensity as building phase, but you need consistent practice, preventing regression. Maintenance protocol is reduced frequency at same or higher intensity. Cold exposure drops to 3 times weekly instead of daily, but intensity stays at ice bath level. Fasting drops to 2 24-hour fasts monthly instead of daily restricted eating. Physical discomfort training drops to twice weekly instead of 3 times. Stress exposure becomes opportunistic. When real stress appears, you engage it rather than avoiding it. This reduced frequency maintains adaptation without requiring same time commitment as building phase. Second maintenance layer is progressive difficulty increase preventing plateau. Mental strength maintained at same level slowly weakens as you adapt. Solution is periodically increasing difficulty of practices. After 90 days of maintenance, cold exposure extends to 15-minute ice bath. Fasting extends to 36 or 48 hours. Physical training increases to truly brutal intensity. You're applying progressive overload principle, gradually increasing stimulus, preventing adaptation plateau. Musashi trained harder at 50 than at 30, continuously increasing difficulty throughout life. That's why strength never degraded. You need same approach. Maintenance isn't staying same, it's gradually getting harder forever. Third maintenance layer is seeking real adversity as training. Controlled practice is necessary foundation, but real stress is ultimate test. Don't avoid hard conversations, difficult projects, challenging situations. Actively seek them as opportunities to practice unbreakability in real world. When crisis hits, don't panic. Recognize it as training session. When you face unexpected adversity, don't complain. Treat it as stress inoculation. This mindset shift transforms everything. You're no longer victim of circumstances beyond control. You're practitioner using circumstances as training. That reframe creates anti-fragility. You become stronger from stress instead of weaker. After maintaining this for years, unbreakability becomes permanent character trait, not temporary state. Final topic reveals principle making all of this work. Bonus: the one principle that makes everything work. The one principle underlying entire 66-day protocol is this: discomfort is not enemy requiring avoidance. It's training tool creating strength. This single mental shift changes everything. Weak mind sees discomfort as problem to eliminate. Strong mind sees discomfort as opportunity to build capacity. Cold shower isn't torture, it's training session. Hunger isn't emergency, it's practice. Boredom isn't suffering, it's meditation. Criticism isn't attack, it's feedback. Stress isn't threat, it's challenge. This reframe transforms your relationship with everything uncomfortable. You stop running from discomfort and start using it deliberately. Why does this principle matter when specific practices seem more important? Because practices only work if you understand purpose. If you see cold shower as pointless suffering, you'll skip it when motivation is low. If you see it as targeted training creating specific adaptation, you execute it regardless of motivation. Understanding transforms obligation into opportunity. Every uncomfortable moment becomes chance to build strength. Bad sleep becomes endurance training. Unexpected crisis becomes stress inoculation. Physical pain becomes mental toughening. Nothing is wasted. Everything contributes to unbreakability if you see it correctly. Musashi sought hardship deliberately because he understood this principle. Modern people avoid hardship obsessively because they don't understand this principle. Implementation of this principle is daily practice of reframing. When discomfort arises, instead of automatic, "This sucks, how do I avoid it?" you consciously choose, "This is training, how do I use it?" That conscious reframe must happen hundreds of times during 66 days until it becomes automatic. Eventually, you won't need to consciously reframe. Your brain will automatically see discomfort as training. That's when transformation is complete. You've rebuilt your nervous system at fundamental level. Discomfort that would have broken you now strengthens you. That's not positive thinking. That's biological adaptation to changed interpretation of stimuli. This principle plus 66 days of consistent practice equals permanent mental unbreakability. Everything you need is now in your hands. You just received complete samurai method for becoming mentally unbreakable in 66 days. Not through positive thinking or motivation, through systematic hardship training, creating neurological adaptation. Weeks 1 and 2 break comfort addiction. Weeks 3 and 4 build discomfort tolerance. Weeks 5 and 6 test under real stress. Weeks 7 and 8 escalate intensity systematically. Weeks 9 and 10 master mental override. Plus implementation protocol, tracking system, ensuring completion, maintenance, preventing regression, and principle making everything work. After 66 days of perfect execution, you'll be fundamentally different person with nervous system adapted to handle stress that currently breaks you. Challenge starts tomorrow. Day 1 of 66-day protocol, 5-minute cold shower immediately after waking, 16-hour fast, 10 minutes complete stillness, 1 uncomfortable task you've been avoiding. Post in comments, starting 66-day Unbreakable protocol tomorrow. Declaring your commitment. If this showed you mental strength is trainable through progressive hardship exposure, subscribe for more warrior protocols based on neuroscience, not nonsense. Being mentally weak means being controlled by discomfort. Being mentally unbreakable means using discomfort as training tool. Most people will stay weak, avoiding everything uncomfortable. You now have exact protocol becoming unbreakable. Choose execution. See you on day 67 when you're permanently transformed.